Moving forward, we have a presentation by Jeremy King, who is CEO and founder of Attest. And this presentation is titled The Mantis Shrimp and Marketing, Learning from Nature's Most Sensational Animal to Dominate Your Ecosystem. Wow, Jeremy, over to you.
Hi, excited to share more and also explain what the hell is this about? Why are we talking about Mantis Shrimp and marketing? And it's interesting because we've actually heard today from a number of companies who are Attest clients who are a bit like Mantis Shrimps using their data in their presentations today. But let me explain why the hell we're here. This is a coral reef, and it contains on here the most amazing animal, in my view, in the entire animal kingdom. And it's not particularly visible, it's not particularly sexy, it's not particularly exciting. It's down here in the bottom right. It's about the size of a Mars bar, and it's a little tiny invertebrate prawny shrimpy thing. It really shouldn't be that exciting, but the thing is, it is. It really is that exciting, and there's a lot we can learn from it. You might think that these are the most beautiful animals in the coral reef. On the left, a queen angelfish, this beautiful pattern. On the right, a mandarin fish that's been attacked by highlighter pens and that has crazy, crazy lips and amazing eyes. These are just mere contenders for the most beautiful items in the coral reef. You might think that the most powerful items on the coral reef, the most powerful animals, are the potato cod, this humphead wrasse bigger than a scuba diver, incredibly heavy. They are just some of the most powerful animals on the reef. You might think that these are some of the most clever animals on the reef. On the left, we've got a boxer crab who uses anemones, which are poisonous, to create poisonous pom-poms to attack its predators. On the right, we've got the mimic octopus. It's an octopus that makes itself look like a sea snake, a lionfish, and a flatfish to escape predators. But these are just contenders for the cleverest, because all three of those titles are held by the unified champion of the reef, which is the mantis shrimp. This tiny little guy who looks like a prawn that's been attacked with highlighter pens. It is the most beautiful. It holds all of the titles of the reef. It's the most beautiful because it finds ways to appeal to anyone. It looks amazing. It also tastes amazing. I've eaten one of these. It is amazing to learn about. It does amazing things on the reef. It has all sorts of crazy appendages and pretty much uses every color in the rainbow. And this is a bit like the inspiration for WISE, formerly TransferWise. They use Attest to understand how to localize what they're doing, how to make sure that they can customize what WISE means and what WISE does to each of their audiences, to make it real and to appeal to anyone. Just like the mantis shrimp, it is beautiful in many different ways, and that's how WISE use Attest. The mantis shrimp is also the most powerful animal on the item reef, on the coral reef. Pound for pound, it is the most powerful puncher in the animal kingdom. Underneath its crazy claws, it has these hammers, and it releases these hammers by storing up energy in its exoskeleton and then releasing that energy all in one go, using so much energy that for a moment when it hits something, it creates a temperature hotter than the surface of the sun. It looks like this. Here is a mantis shrimp just hitting the crap out of a little crab. It challenges the laws of physics. It cavitates the water behind its claws, and it collapses this force onto anything it can hit. And that means that even this tiny shrimp, which is incredibly small, can just walk around and do whatever it wants because everyone is scared of it. It destroys assumptions, changes the laws of physics to achieve its goals. A bit like Little Moons. Little Moons makes mochi balls. They were so popular on TikTok, particularly in January, that they sold out online, on Amazon, on everywhere. And they could see that social media was going to be their route to this incredible growth. What they actually discovered was, using this incredible punching power, that their real audience is completely different. People who are going to buy Little Moons more regularly, a completely different audience. And that's driven their growth over 7x year on year, just by understanding how to apply the forces they've got to maximum effect. And it wasn't the most obvious place. Last one, my favorite. The mantis shrimp is the cleverest animal on the coral reef. It has the most amazing eyes. Again, it's an invertebrate. It's got eyes like a fly, eyes that should be able to see nothing, but in fact, it can see everything. At the top, we have the human visible spectrum. We can see colors. Mantis shrimp can see all the colors, infrared like Predator, ultraviolet like CSI. It can see black and white to detect motion. It can see circular and plane polarized light, so that even in a colorful background like a reef, it can see everything. They see things that others don't. Like Bloom and Wild. Bloom and Wild this Valentine's Day chose, using data from Attest, to stop selling red roses completely. Women think they're terrible gifts. Men admit that it's a last-minute choice and it's lazy. Bloom and Wild exists to give every celebration a special feeling, and red roses is a bad way to do that. Bloom and Wild was so confident in their data that they stopped selling red roses, 4 times year-on-year revenue growth. And just to show who is really the king of the coral reef, here is a mimic octopus, my favorite animal, my second favorite, trying to look like my first favorite, which is the mantis shrimp. A mimic octopus mimicking a mantis shrimp, and that is the greatest form of flattery. If you want to learn more about Attest, we're around, happy to answer questions. These are some of the companies we work with, and you can always find us at askattest.com. Our product looks like this on the right, and delighted to talk through any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was weird, man. Where did that come from? Where did the whole underwater marketing analogy seascape conference approach come from? I am intrigued.
I mean, a long time before I got into working in startups and scale-ups, I originally studied biology and genetics, and learning about mantis shrimp and genetics, particularly how baby reef fish grow up, is a big passion of mine. So when I think about business problems to solve, I often come at it from animal kingdom or natural problems, because deep down, nature has seen every problem and solved it 1,000 different ways, and therein lies the answer.
And so let's continue the analogy. How would you describe Attest in the kingdom of sea creatures?
Oh, we are definitely dolphins. So we like to work together a lot. We sing a similar song. We like to play and sort of surf waves. So definitely dolphins, like not the biggest, fiercest predators, but in collective collaboration, some of the most effective. And we do that through good communication and a sense of fun.
And so I'm going to have to carry on with this. So what is the type of attributes of a sea creature that you think brands should embrace for 2021 and survival and thriving in 2022? Which sea creature, which other sea creatures do you think that brands really need to take on the values of, or the attributes? You started this, in fairness.
Let me talk instead about trees.
Okay,
so
fine.
Trees find it really hard to establish themselves and where they grow up. Like, just being a seed and germinating doesn't really help anyone. If you germinate on top of a rock, then it's smooth, you're gonna die. But trees exist because of a process called vegetative succession. First, there's a rock, then there's a rock covered in a little bit of moss and dead leaves. Then suddenly a little tiny bush can grow there, and then gradually a whole forest will grow over time. That's called a climax forest. Every now and then those forests burn down, and there are entire groups of plants and even animals that wait for that forest to burn down. Their seeds won't germinate unless they are toasted. Right now, we've seen in the last 12 months a huge shift in the way consumers behave, in the way that digital adoption has happened, in the way that people learn about new products and try them. Direct to consumer, brilliant example, off the charts growth. So I think a way that we as marketers can learn from vegetative succession in trees is, if you're simply ready to germinate because you're toasted and your market is ready, choose your moment and load your cannon and be ready to fire, so that when your market is at its greatest propensity for you to survive, that's when you bloom, grow, and take over the entire forest. And I think there are more chances like that right now than ever before.
Wow, what a fantastic answer.